Good morning. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Retirement for Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. Start out with a Pledge of Allegiance. Elizabeth, would you like to? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Robbins. This meeting is being conducted as a virtual and in-person meeting, so I will do a roll call of the trustees to confirm attendance. Ms. Ginsburg? Here. Mr. Raza?
Present.
Ms. Langton? Present. Mr. Rue?
Here.
Ms. Fessler?
Here.
Mr. Oakham?
Here.
Mr. Kehoe? He's here. Mr. Robbins?
Here.
Mr. Harris? And Mr. Moore?
Here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Staff participating in the meeting include the following: Acting CEO Louis Lugo, CIO John Grable, AEOs JJ Popovich and Laura Guglielmo, Chief Counsel Stephen Rice. We also have several staff that will be presenting: Frank Boyd, Ted Granger, Tamara Caldwell, Allison Barrett, Barry Liu, Jessica Rivas, Jean Kim, Elsie Gutierrez, and Chad Arande. We also have two consultants, Michelle Sue and Kyle Pelzer. Trustees, please use the raise your hand option to be placed in the queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants to mute your mic until you're ready to speak. And now we may proceed with the agenda.
Thank you very much. Item 5 is public comment. We have one request from the public to address the board. So
Miss Elizabeth Silver, you can go ahead and approach the board, and you will have 3 minutes to address the board. Thank you.
Elizabeth Silver, and this is Steve Arnold, a retired LA County firefighter. I'm here on the executive session A1, the administrative appeal of Dan Gordon, Steve Arnold, Michael Jackson, and Brian Nicholson. These individuals are retired LA County firefighters. They retired back between 2016 and 2018, and they were part of a lawsuit based on the fact that they worked in the arson unit, which is a coveted position in the fire department, and it required a lot of regularly scheduled overtime. And under the Fair Labor Standards Act, they weren't being paid properly. So they pursued litigation against the county, and it resulted in a settlement. And the settlement divided each individual's pay so that it was back pay with deductions, you know, liquidated damages, attorney's fees, et cetera. And there were, I think, 3 or 4 other individuals who are not part of this appeal, and I'll explain why. So the litigation settled, the county paid, and prospectively from that date, which was December 2017, all of the regularly scheduled overtime was coded as pensionable. So from that date forward, there's no dispute. What happened with these individuals is that because they have a 3-year final compensation period, the county miscoded the back pay, and they put it in some miscellaneous non-pensionable kind of generic code like 009. And so because of the payroll coding error, the individuals who weren't able to work long enough to make a new 3 years prospectively didn't have the regularly scheduled overtime in their pension. And that's really what this case is about. The appeal was filed several years ago in 2019. And through no fault of LACERA, the county literally would not provide the documents to LACERA that were necessary for you to make a good faith determination as to whether the appeal should be granted. It came before you in 2024, I think October, and it was denied without prejudice based on the fact that the documents weren't available to verify the numbers. And so it's really mostly a document issue. We have now successfully gotten the documents, and we've been working with Jessica Rivas and Steve Rice, who've been amazing throughout the last few years. And we understand that you have all of the documents before you. So we're hoping that, they will retire with the same pension as their counterparts who were able to work longer. We really just wanted to be here to present that, to remind you of the situation. And I don't know if you want to say anything.
No, that's
Okay.
fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much.
We will be discussing this later today, so thank you for coming down. Item 6, LACERA All-Stars, JJ.
Thank you very much, Chair Robbins, and good morning, trustees. So each month we take a moment to recognize LACERA staff who have been nominated by their fellow staff members for going above and beyond the call of duty and helping our members or each other. And this month we recognize Julia Ray, Hannah Huynh, Chona Aptic Austin, and Jeffrey Shedlowitz. And then our ride chair is Gloria Colorado. And our web watcher is Benjamin Juarez. So thank you very much for everything you do for us. And with your permission, I'll move to the spotlight. I can get my computer to do that. That'd be great. So our member spotlight gives us the opportunity to recognize a member who serves the constituents of Los Angeles County and helps us to recognize why we're here, why we do what we do, as we empower our members to enjoy a healthy and secure retirement. And so this month, if we'll bring it up on the screen, we're going to recognize one of our own, Bonnie Wise. So Bonnie is retired in September of this year after working her entire career here at LACERA. And I think all that career was in the Disability Retirement Services Division, where she started out as a word processor, worked herself up to a disability retirement investigator. She is a tremendously valued employee, a pleasure to work with, and we wish her the best in her retirement. Her proudest achievement is her 25-year service record with LACERA, and also her time on the Employee Council. That's an incredibly important part of our culture here at LACERA. Bonnie actually served as a president and vice president for the Employee Council, and that's an invaluable contribution in itself. And so she does plan on traveling, organizing her home, and playing bingo and casino trips. So wish her the best of luck. Hopefully she wins big. So Bonnie, thank you very much for your service to LACERA. We truly appreciate you.
Item C, Chief Executive Officer's report. Louis.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Chair Robbins. Good morning, trustees. If we can go to slide 3, please. First, want to, again, glad to see everyone on the dais. I know it was an exciting championship weekend for our region, so I'm sure all of you had quite the fun over the weekend. Mixed Halloween into that as well. So a few updates on a CEO report that we want to highlight. We've had this on the agenda for the last few months, but officially the Board of Supervisors has ratified our safety member elections. So we want to officially congratulate Trustee Kehoe on being selected as the BOR 7th member and the BOI 4th member. So congratulations, Trustee Kehoe. We also want to congratulate Trustee Green, first for his service on both boards through the last 3 years, but also being elected as the alternate member for the Board of Retirement. So congratulations to Trustee Green. One of the things we're focusing on in the upcoming year is stakeholder engagements outside of our normal channels of communication with members, obviously through newsletters and social media. One of the things that I've talked about with Chief Investment Officer John Grable is really reaching out intentionally with some of our stakeholders, which include SEIU, some of our business partners, Local 1014, POPA, and we will be having meetings with various stakeholder groups just to talk about the health of the fund, our engagement with members, and just overall our approach and long-term vision at LACERA. So we think it's important outside of just the normal day-to-day interactions that we have to engage with some of these stakeholders on a more routine basis. So we're going to be looking at scheduling those. We did meet with SEIU last month and had a productive meeting with David Green, and look forward to scheduling future meetings with other stakeholders. So
Can you add ALADs to that list as well?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Note of that. We've completed our culture survey, as we stated earlier, and we now are focused in on our focus groups. There is going to be a presentation to the ACRE committee as well as the board on the results of the culture survey. And so we're going to be presenting that next month. So look for that on the agenda in both the ACRE as well as the BOR meeting. This is more congratulatory but bittersweet. Obviously at LACERA, we celebrate milestones like retirement. One of the retirements that we're going to celebrate, or the announcements I should say, is our very own Laura Guglielmo, our Assistant Executive Officer. She has been with us for over 4 years. It feels longer. Certainly has had a positive impact throughout her area of responsibility, but also just more organization-wide. So Laura is looking to retire in March. Certainly congratulate her on her retirement. Like I said, it's bittersweet. We'll have more opportunity to celebrate her retirement, as well as, we talked about this a couple of months ago, Richard Bendel, who's also going to be retiring around that time as well. So we have a couple of key retirements in the leadership ranks, and we'll celebrate them accordingly. But again, I want to wish Laura well, as she is going to still work hard up until retirement, but certainly looking at that retirement date of March, and thank her for all of her service here at LACERA and to our membership. So congratulations, Laura. If we could go to slide 5, please. And lastly, just an update as it relates to some of the new team members that we've onboarded. We continue to make progress on our recruitments, as well as our fulfilling our vacancies. So we want to congratulate Andrea Asinicio, Myrna Cardoza, Fabiolo Galindo, and Anna Muriand on their additions or their promotions and onboarding to the LACERA team. So congratulations to those team members. And lastly, we continue to make progress on the Chief Audit Executive recruitment. There will be a forthcoming meeting with the recruitment committee, the ACRE committee that's leading this recruitment effort. So we are on pace to try to get that position posted, hopefully by the end of the year, and begin interviews shortly thereafter. And with that, Trustee Robbins, actually one last item. For the boardroom project on the first floor, there are, for trustees that want to test some of the chairs, some of the decor, please connect with Linda. We have some of the decor options in our executive suite, and then some of the chairs are downstairs on the first floor for testing. So after the board meeting, please connect with Linda and she'll coordinate that with you all. With that, I'll pass it back to you, Chair Robbins, with any questions.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions for Louis? Seeing none. Back up for just a second. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the October 1st board meeting. And a second.
Okay. Ms. Ginsburg? Yes. Mr. Razzo?
Aye.
Ms. Langton? Aye. Ms. Fessler?
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Oakham? Mr. Rue?
Yes.
And Chair Robbins.
I'm an aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Item 7, disability retirement applications on the consent agenda. The first batch are Sheriff Department cases, case number 755E through 781E. I need a motion.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
Mr. Razzo?
Aye.
Ms. Langton? Aye. Ms. Fessler?
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Oakham?
Aye.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
And Mr. Robbins.
I'm an aye.
Okay,
The next batch are firefighters and lifeguards, cases 1006C through 1015C. Need a motion. Second.
Okay, Ms. Ginsburg.
Yes.
Mr. Razzo,
Aye.
Ms. Langton,
Aye.
Ms. Fessler,
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Oakham, Mr. Rue,
Yes.
and Chair Robbins.
I'm an aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Next batch are consent calendar, general member disability retirements, 2006 through 2036. Need a move.
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Ginsburg.
Yes.
Mr. Razzo,
Aye.
Ms. Langton. Aye. Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Oakham, Mr. Rue,
Yes.
and Chair Robbins.
I'm an aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Last case is a non-service connected disability case 4519. I need a motion.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Yes.
Mr. Razzo,
Aye.
Ms. Langton. Aye. Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Oakham, Mr. Rue,
Yes.
and Chair Robbins.
I'm an aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Item 8, consent items A through D. I need a motion.
Okay, Ms. Ginsburg,
Yes.
Mr. Razzo,
Aye.
Ms. Langton. Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe.
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Oakham, Mr. Rue,
Yes.
and Chair Robbins.
I'm an aye.
Okay, passes unanimously.
Item 9 excluded. There are none from the consent items. We are now on item 10, non-consent. Item A. Mr. Liu.
Thank you, Chair Robbins, trustees. So this item concerns next week's SACRS conference. This is an item to be voted on at the business meeting on the last day of the conference by the voting delegates of each system. Just a reminder, the voting delegates are regular members of SACRS, which include the CEOs and the trustees. And LACERA's policy has been to indicate the CEO as the voting delegate, with the alternates being the trustees by board officer positions and then by their seat numbers. So this is the 2026 legislative platform for SACRS, and various number of items here, which I'll go through pretty quickly. Item 1, it was included in error. It has to do with references to the definition of board. So that won't be included in the platform. But the next one is about trustee elections. This simply clarifies that it's active members that vote for the, I guess, the active member trustees. Apparently, one system has allowed their deferred members to vote for these members. So, but this will clarify it as active members. Another issue is a statute on errors and omissions. At this point, only LACERA has such a statute. This will add a statute for the other 19 systems as well. There are also references in SERL that reference compensation earnable, but some sections call it earnable compensation. So this will just make everything consistent to indicate a compensation earnable. SERL also provides a barrow benefit for retirees who are passed to their beneficiaries of $5,000. There are various sections in SERL that talk about the benefit. Some refer to 750, which LACERA used to pay until the county adopted the $5,000 benefit over 20 years ago. So this will just clarify this, the last system in which the member retired that pays for the benefit. And then lastly, the last issue concerns reciprocity. Generally, you have to retire concurrently on the same date in order for you to use your highest salary. But for various reasons, sometimes members don't retire concurrently. So this proposal just give a little bit more flexibility in case those dates don't match up to within 30 days for non-concurrency, so that they'll still be eligible to use their highest final compensation. So that's basically a summary of the issues, and the recommendation is that LACERA's voting delegate vote yes to sponsor these proposals. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
The errors and omissions section that's included, is it substantially similar to our existing policy, or is there any type of discrepancy between the two?
Yeah, so slightly. So I'll just go on some background on this. I think over 10 years ago, LACERA actually proposed an errors and omissions statute to the SRO membership, but they voted it down. So that's why LACERA pursued our own legislation. And so currently, this statute only applies to us. I guess now the sentiment has flipped with the other systems. They want their own statute, but here I think they're making some changes that's not exactly the same as what our statute is, which we basically replicated from CalPERS's statute. But yeah, so at this point, I think some things are still in flux as far as what SACRS was thinking.
So I just have a concern about that. I have a concern if we have a different interpretation for 19 other systems and we have a different interpretation, right? Ours was based on CalPERS. I would remember pushing that. I remember them voting it down. I didn't agree with it, but they obviously had that right. But at the end of the day, now they're creating one. I would prefer that it's in line with ours. And I have a concern about voting to support them going in a different direction because that may impact future changes to our. Now we have a carve out specific to LACERA. That doesn't mean that it's going to be like that forever, right? So I want to make sure that we're engaged in that conversation. Right now, do we have anybody on the at SACRS on in leadership? I don't think we do from the board, right?
Well, I'm on the legislative committee, so
okay.
I participate in these discussions. Yeah, it's in the past meetings there. It's just a couple, as you can see in the proposed language, there's some tweaks they're making that are differing from what we have.
So what exactly are the differences between those two? And I hate to put you on the spot, but we were being asked to vote on it, and we have to make a decision if we're going to support.
Let me just pull up the
if they're
language.
minor, if they're grammatical changes or something, that is not a big deal. But if there's actually substantive differences between the two, then we need to know about it. And what I would propose to my peers is that we say we'll support this section if you make the following adjustments, and if not, then we're going to vote no on this specific issue.
Yeah, so I think my recommendation would be, as far as legislation is concerned, the first draft is never the final draft.
Okay.
So the language is a vessel for the concept. I think as staff, I would propose that we do at least get this through the SACRS process so that gets introduced. And we can certainly, I can certainly engage with the SACRS Leg Committee, and then as far as our own lobbyists is concerned, during next legislative year, as this moves through the legislature on what our concerns are and what changes can be made.
Okay.
So at least, I think for now, this would be more of a procedural move to at least get this, I guess, on the table, and then we can further discuss.
Got it. Okay. I'm in strong support of errors and omission policy. I'm glad that SACRS is going there. I just want us to try and be as closely aligned as possible and not have two different things that could potentially impact the future of the legislation. So I'll leave it at that. I agree. I do think that we should support, ultimately, based on what you're saying, support it, and then hope drive the process as they negotiate the actual legislation itself. Thank you.
We do need a motion
I
and a
think you have
second.
Poppy.
In issue 5, the burial benefit, in the proposal, it says they have, if they're eligible for a benefit from any retirement system. Does that mean any other SURL system or any system? Like if they have a benefit coming from CalPERS or something, does that kick in here?
Yeah, so this is any system within California. So yeah, it could be CalPERS, could be LA City, the independent systems, SURL systems, and they don't even have to be reciprocal. So you could be working on another system as your last system. So this, I think everybody understands that should be a last system, but this just kind of buttons it up and clarifies that it is.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Call roll.
And we need a motion? Okay. Thank you. Ms. Ginsburg,
Yes.
Mr. Razzo,
Aye.
Ms. Langton. Aye. Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe.
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Oakham, Mr. Rue,
Yes.
and Chair Robbins.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
We're now on item B, revised policy for the procurement of goods and services. Laura.
Good morning, Chair Robbins and trustees. I'm pinch hitting today for Ricky Contreras, our Director of Administrative Services. So in that baseball parlance, she's on the IL and we hope she'll be back. We expect her to be back soon. Before you today is a request to approve a revised policy for the procurement of goods and services. This is primarily an internal policy for staff to use. However, it is before this board because it does grant the CEO certain authorities and that really that's the primary reason this item is before you. We plan to bring a comprehensive presentation of our new centralized vendor management program to the Operations Oversight Committee and this board in January when after Ms. Contreras returns. But for today, we're going to discuss why revisions to this policy are immediately needed. So this board last reviewed and approved this policy, the policy for procurement of goods and services in September of 2024. Prior to 2024, some of the contracts at LACERA were renewed or executed without really a comprehensive needs assessment or market research due diligence. The threshold for formal bidding was $150,000, and we had a number of de facto evergreen agreements, and sole or single source agreements were not always thoughtfully scrutinized. When I use the term formal bids, I mean soliciting a wide range of vendors to submit requests for proposals. It requires LACERA to outline our scope of work for services and or detailed specifications for goods, along with other required terms and conditions that LACERA deems necessary or advantageous. And to be clear, most of our contracts under $150,000 threshold, or most of the contracts under that $150,000 threshold, still required the business owner or the division to solicit at least 3 vendors to obtain price quotes. But a full analysis of the terms and conditions were not typically assessed until the contract was being executed. In the 2024 policy change reduced the threshold for formal bids from $150,000 to $25,000. And all exemptions for competitive bidding requirements now have to be justified in writing and approved by the CEO. The overall impact of these changes has been positive, supporting LACERA's strategic objective toward operational efficiency, fiscal responsibility, and robust risk management by strengthening our internal controls to improve accountability and transparency, enhancing our vendor relationships through improved performance monitoring, and ensuring best practices by expanding and encouraging competitive bidding requirements. However, our experience has not been consistently positive. Specifically, the team found that reducing the threshold for the formal bidding to $25,000, regardless of complexity or risk, resulted in significant delays in obtaining necessary and often mission-critical goods and services. A formal bidding process takes several months. In addition, the new threshold is so low in this current inflationary environment that many vendors, especially those in the IT field, simply do not respond because the administrative burden to them is too high for the potential reward. In response to their customers' feedback, the vendor management team researched 14 other California government organizations, including 7 pension funds, to determine common and best practices. They found that the thresholds varied widely, but increasing the threshold to $100,000 was both reasonable and consistent with other public agency best practices in California. And so that you are aware, OSERS, San Bernardino County, and Alameda County all have $100,000 as their threshold for formal bids. The LACERA's Ethics and Compliance Committee is the group responsible for vetting all new and amending policies, agreed and that increasing the threshold to $100,000 was reasonable and would more likely result in more, not less, competition and overall lower costs, and that it would reduce the time to process new contracts by several months. This is the primary reason we're bringing this proposal to you today. It is the most urgent matter before us. However, our Ethics and Compliance Committee while they're looking at the policy, looked at the policy comprehensively. And they made several additional proposed modifications for the purpose of improving the clarity, consistency, and promoting compliance for the LACERA staff using this policy. Specifically, we recommended reformatting the policy for clarity and readability. We consolidated all exemptions for competitive bidding into one section under 5J, where it was previously kind of spread throughout. And we aligned the requisition approval thresholds with contract signing authority levels for consistency and consolidated those into a single table in Exhibit A. And lastly, we updated sections for title and clarity. This concludes my general overview, and we respectfully request that the board adopt staff's recommendation and approve the revised policy for procurement of goods and services at this time. And in the audience here, I have the vendor management team, and we're happy to address any questions that you may have at this time.
Bobby, question?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't lower it the last time.
I have a question.
Wayne Moore, you got a question, Wayne?
Yes, let me fix you. Okay, I'm on. Just had a general question, two general questions. So we're still going to be able to ask for 2 or 3 quotes, even though it won't be a formal competitive bid process.
Absolutely. Our trustee Moore, our process has, even before 2024, the formal bid is really a request for proposals.
Right.
Putting out there. We always did at least a 3 bid minimum. And then one difference also is previously the divisions submitted their 3 bids for as part of their request to execute an agreement. Currently, the divisions will still do that, but the vendor management team will also do a 3 bid review and will verify that. So that's an extra check and balance that didn't exist prior to 2024, and that will continue for all of the contracts under the new threshold if you all agree to that.
Okay, that sounds good to me. One other thing. Are our vendor services team members engaged with the California Association of Public Procurement Officials or any other organizations that do have accreditation and training programs?
You're speaking to my heart because I'm just going to share a little aside. My father was a purchasing manager for the Department of Water and Power for a long time. And he was president of that organization, as well as the National Institute of Governmental Purchasing. So you're speaking to my heart when you mentioned that organization. I love it, but I don't know the answer. So I'm going to find out.
Yeah, that would be great if we were involved with some of those types of organizations. And you're talking about your father. My first job in California was in the procurement department at Bechtel Power Corporation. And I went to UCLA's program for purchasing and procurement management to get a certificate so I would be certified and understand the whole process and practices and then keep up with current changes. And I think that would be a good idea for us to, proactively seek out those kind of opportunities so we're always on top of whatever's going on in purchasing and procurement in the state.
I wholeheartedly agree, and we definitely are encouraging staff to get those kinds of certifications. I'm told we currently have our members of the Institute of Supply Management, and we receive training in that way. But as I mentioned, I'm really familiar with CAPO and NIGP and have been encouraging staff to get those kinds of certifications. So we're working on that.
Okay, thanks.
Aline and then Sean.
Thank you. Good morning. I appreciate the effort made to simplify this procedure or policy and procedure. I do have a few issues that I think could either be addressed through footnotes or through a slight change of language, and I feel pretty strongly about them. I understand you're coming back in January, so I'd like to just be able to give my input before it gets finalized. In the meantime, can I make a motion to approve the exhibits A and B, which provide the new approval authority and signing amount, but leave the original contract intact?
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay, then I'd like to do that. I'm fine with the authority. I'm fine with the amount going to 100,000. I'm fine with, reporting and signing off by the CEO. I'm just not entirely comfortable with the way the contract, or excuse me, the policy is written as changed.
That is the number one reason we came here today instead of waiting for the full presentation was those threshold limits. So that we'd be happy to hear from you and other trustees about suggestions for improving the language, making it more clear or addressing concerns. And I know Ms. Langton has concerns about some of the legal language and what it might mean. So we'd be happy to hear your perspective and incorporate them. But that threshold limit is what is our primary heartburn right now. So that would be welcome for staff.
I'll second the motion. Ms. Kehoe?
Thank you. So one thing that I'd like to see is kind of like a bar chart that shows how many procurements were within certain thresholds. Because when I read this, I'm saying, well, why aren't we at 200,000, right? And rather than 100,000, and I would actually recommend adding a third layer in there, which we have the 5,000 to 1,000 being assistant executive officer. You can add a 100,000 to 200,000 that would require the deputy CEO and CEO's approval as well, informally rather than formally. Because at that point, and I look at all the other systems, there are a lot of systems higher than 100,000 that you're talking about basic stuff like buying computers. I mean, that's not that. Why go through a formal RFP, and vetting and weighing and doing all this stuff when there are 3 different vendors that provide the same exact computer system at slightly different pricing, and you go with the best pricing on it. So I'm just curious why we picked the 100,000 versus we used to be 150. We brought it down to 25. Now we're bringing it back 2 years later almost, and we're still under the 150. So why didn't we just go with the 200 and leave it at that? But I think what would be helpful, that decision make would be to see where all of our procurements were. So if 90% of our procurements were less than 100,000, then, that's fine. We just leave it how it is. But if we have a certain amount in the middle, I just seem like it feels like we're wasting a lot of staff time, hours, and energy for something that's relatively simplistic. And by the way, that I haven't read it, but I'm assuming that you have the authority to switch any informal process into a formal RFP and bidding process, right? So if it is $100,000 procurement, but it's going to be complex or whatever the case is, or that you have a variety of different vendors out there and you want to see what they can do for you, you can still switch something into a formal. This is really just a proper checks and balances to staff. And to me, I just think that, especially in today's day and age, that a little bit more for an $87 billion organization would be better.
Thank you, Trustee Kehoe. I just confirmed I agree. We absolutely, and to just confirm, we absolutely can issue a formal bid at any time for any level if we think that would be advantageous. The $25,000 threshold, when we set that, was really to respond to a risk at that time, or what we perceived to be a risk, and I think we ended up creating a new risk, right, of being too inflexible. But we also want to be responsible and responsive to our members. We want to make sure that we are being competitive. We did look at what the average procurement was, and the most common one was the average price was 75,000. But I think we want to still maintain trust and good practices, but we also, competitive bidding is, and really opening that, that process to more companies is definitely in line with our strategic vision. But we also want that flexibility to be able to move quickly. So, but we're happy to get back to you with that when we come back in January with that bar chart that you talked about. Looks like boss has something to say.
Exactly. We'll bar chart that threshold. We're not going to argue if we can get an increase in threshold. I think it makes life easier for us. So based on that, I think we'll probably take the board up on the threshold being at 200,000, but we'll do our diligence and come back in January.
Can I
Thank
just
you.
add
And
something?
then I still have, Eileen, I'd like to hear from you what changes I would be in support of the motion that's on the table, but I'm just curious. We're holding something back because there's some changes, but I don't know what those changes are.
If I could just first add to Lewis's comments, because his last name isn't coming to me right this second. Sometimes we have a special amount for IT and a special amount for regular goods and services. So, I mean, maybe IT can go up to 200 and everything else is 100, whatever. I mean, there's options.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so my main issues were that I understand that this is for an internal process more than an external process, but because it's an outward facing policy, I have concerns that we took out the word sole source because I think that absolutely needs to be part of our policy. If it's in a footnote, it doesn't matter. We just need those words in there. I'm a little concerned that we are merging the terms bidder and proposer because they are actually two different things. Again, a footnote or something like that could potentially clear it up, just saying that we're using bidder for all terms, but it's not accurate. I have a concern that we call our internal unit that handles the monitoring. We call them a business owner within LACERA, and LACERA, to use the words business owner is just, I don't think that's a good choice of words. Let me see, I could keep going.
Okay, so I get, so it's mostly
Clarifications, yes.
I understand what you're saying. There's no like actual substantive changes to it's clarification and making sure that we're using the right verbiages for things that we identify.
Some of it is substantive, but for the most part, yes, you're correct.
Are you going to send that to LACERA staff for them to consider for incorporation? Is that how it's?
Yes, I had a 40-minute call with Steve last night on it, but we didn't get through the whole thing. So I'd like to somehow communicate maybe my own track changes or something to LACERA. Yeah.
And we're happy to receive your suggestions as well as other trustees as well and discuss them and incorporate them where they make sense. And if not, explain why that's the case.
Mr. Moore?
Yeah, just continuing with what Mr. Kehoe said about coming up with some kind of graphic presentation or just information on the breadth and the type of procurements we're talking about. We can always set thresholds for professional services contracting versus equipment purchases versus materials and supplies. And you'll be able to manage the administrative burden much more effectively and efficiently if you target how you want to change the thresholds.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second.
So the motion will be, Trustee Langton will provide us all the changes, right? Or
No, the motion was to approve Exhibit A and B today and
bring back.
bring back the rest of it back in January, right?
Is it only A and B, or was there something else that put us at 100,000. Does that cover all your concerns for today, A and B?
That would be sufficient,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Okay, Ms. Ginsburg,
Yes.
Mr. Razzo,
Aye.
Ms. Langton, Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Oakham,
Aye.
Mr. Rue, and Chair Robbins.
All right,
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
thank you very much. We're on item 11A, the impact of Senate Bill 852 on the LACERA Form 700 filing process.
Good morning, trustees, chair and trustees. I'm Jess Rivas, staff counsel. I'm here to provide a very brief update on a new state law that was adopted in October and what impact it's going to have on our Form 700 filers. Next slide. So by way of background, as you know, the Form 700 is the way that public officials disclose their economic interests. It's an important tool for filers to identify their actual and potential conflicts, and they are public documents. So if anyone requests them, we must provide them. Our current process is that all LACERA filers file with LACERA. No one files with the county or the FPPC, with one exception. The treasurer and tax collector does file with the FPPC and has for some time. LACERA filers use our own e-filing system and have been doing so for 3 years now. And we don't have, it's not our practice that we are not required to post our forms online. But again, if anyone were to request them, we would provide them. Next slide. So some recent changes, there are 2 new state laws, one that went into effect at the beginning of this year that required many filers who previously filed with their own agencies to move over to FPPC filing. We monitored that closely and determined it didn't apply to us. We consulted with FPPC as well. And then just recently in October, a new law, SB 852, sorry about that, added public officials who manage public investments to the list of those who must file with the FPPC directly and use their e-filing system. So this one does affect LACERA. Next slide. So who specifically at LACERA will be affected? These are all identified in our current conflict of interest code. We identify these positions as managing public investments. So our Board of Investments trustees, CEO, CIO, chief counsel, principal investment officers, and also our independent contractors and consultants. Anyone who pursuant to a contract is also managing our investments. And so that includes over 100 LACERA filers. So it's a good number. Out of our approximately 250 filers, over 100 managed public investments. So it impacts almost half of our filers. Next slide. So how are these filers going to be impacted? So starting in 2026, they'll be required to file with the FPPC's e-filing system. It's the same system that LACERA used. It's called Granicus, but it will be a separate system. So unfortunately, filers will have to enter their information from scratch. None of the data is going to carry over, but it will be a familiar system for those filers. All the notices about filing and reminders will come from the FPPC. FPPC will be responsible for those filers, including monitoring for completeness, conducting audits, issuing fines, etc. The FPPC's practice, I said on my slide that they may post the forms online. I reached out to them to get confirmation. They said they will be posting the forms online. So that is a change I wanted to make sure everyone is aware of. If you're a filer with the FPPC, the forms are posted online. What will stay the same, the legal office will remain a source of help for any questions you may have about the filing requirements. We will assist the FPPC with gaining compliance if anyone is late. We'll be sure to reach out to you or any other filers who need reminders or need assistance accessing the system. And the FPPC will also provide your forms or the forms of the filers who file with them, and we will keep them for our records and also so we can do complex checks when necessary. And then finally, I just wanted to point out the county will be making some minor changes to our conflict of interest code to make sure it aligns with this new language in SB 852. Specifically, they'll be updating the place of filing so that it says that some filers, the filers who manage public investments, will be filing with the FPPC, not LACERA. So that's a minor change that will be happening over the coming months. And with that, I'm available to answer any questions. Otherwise, those filers will be hearing from the FPPC and we'll stay in contact as well about that change.
Mr. Kehoe?
Yeah, so I file with the Sheriff's Department as well as with LACERA. So would I have one single file or is because it's all being combined now. So what would I file one that covers all three positions, Board of Retirement, Board of Investments? and
So we can
Treasury?
talk to specific filers about whether they can do a combined statement. In
Okay.
practice, it's kind of tricky. It's often it often works out easier to file separately, but I'm happy to work with any individuals to figure out if it's practical.
I've been doing it separate just because of that, because it's been difficult, but I was just thinking if we're going to this new thing, but okay, yeah, if you don't mind reaching out, let me know.
Absolutely.
I don't mind doing two separate ones if I have to.
Okay, I'll be in
Ms.
touch.
Langdon and then Ms. Fessel.
Thank you. I have the same issue. So would we file one for county council, one for LACERA Board of Investments, one for LACERA Board of Retirement and FPPC, or would the Board of Investments one be covered by FPPC?
That's a great question. Yeah, and I'm happy to work again with specific filers who are in similar situations. There are several of you. I believe the FPPC one would cover both board positions. The trick with the language in the FPPC regulations, they say when you file one statement that covers others, it has to list them. And so it's making sure that the FPPC system is listing your other trustee position. And so we're going to be working all those details out with them. And hopefully that would be ideal. And I think that's a reasonable ask of them.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I'll
And
be
I-
in touch on if there's any issues there.
Perfect. And I just want to say you have been great with the Form 700s. It gets tricky and we really appreciate your help.
Absolutely. That's what we're here to help for. So.
Bobby?
When this change happens, how will LACERA monitor the filings of the folks that are now going to be filing with the FPPC? In other words, if we've got a contractor, I'm more concerned about the contractors than I am about our own internal staff, but somebody must review things that are coming to the board and say, whoops, you shouldn't be involved in this or that because of your conflict, I presume. If that's the case, will you guys continue to be doing that even though the forms are filed somewhere else? You'll just automatically check at the FPPC's database, or what's the plan for that?
So great question. There's several parts to that. The first is just as a straightforward matter, the FPPC will send us a copy of all forms. That's what we've been informed. So we'll get a copy. The one thing that makes it a little bit more difficult to do conflicts checks on is right now, so when everyone's filing with LACERA, that data is entered into our system and it's very easy for us to run reports. We're just going to be getting a PDF from the FPPC. So we will have to have eyes on it as opposed to just pulling data from all of our 250 filers. So it will add a little bit of a logistical hurdle to compliance checks.
And have you talked with the FPPC to see if they would be willing to share the raw form with you as opposed to a PDF for that very reason?
We haven't yet, but the fact that they are using the same system as us makes me optimistic that maybe some point in the future that will be possible. But that hasn't been discussed yet. Okay. Yeah, so thank you.
Any other questions? Sean, you don't have another one? I need a motion.
Oh, no motion. This was just for information. So thank you very much.
We don't need a motion. So we are on item B, Unit 42 Power Hour.
Good morning. Let me just, yeah, things are good. Okay. Sorry. Good morning, trustees. Today I have for you a presentation from Unit 42 from Palo Alto. We have engaged Unit 42 to kind of be our secure operations center for LACERA. It's a SOC. Essentially what they do for us is they provide us the service of looking at our logs, alerting us, and this is a service that they do 24/7 for LACERA. So that's one of the items that they bring to the table. The second item that they bring to the table, which is a topic of discussion today, is really to make LACERA, you all aware as to the additional services that they bring to the table in terms of if ever there were to be an incident or a cyber incident, what Unit 42 can do for us in terms of protecting LACERA and our members. So with that, I'll let Kyle and Michelle go ahead with their presentation.
Thank you so much. Next slide, please. Before we dive into what is Unit 42, just want to do a brief intro of ourselves. My name is Michelle Zhu. I am a senior consultant from Unit 42. Have been with Unit 42 for almost 3 years right now. My day-to-day job heavily involved in anything technical assessment related. Just like Chad mentioned, anything security operations center related, anything related to threat hunting, incident response. I am specialized in this specific area. And then next, I will pass it to my peers, Kyle.
Morning, everybody. My name is Kyle Pelzer. I'm a consultant at Unit 42. Been with Unit 42 for about a year now. Focus on our cyber risk management team. Governance, risk, and compliance is where I specialize in, or our GRC structure. A lot of assessments and making sure that organizations are proactively protected before or after an incident. So what is Unit 42? Unit 42 is the consulting arm of Palo Alto Networks, a large multi-billion-dollar company. What we do is we provide threat intelligence, proactive and reactive services. Us both, we're on the proactive services team. Our reactive services team deals with incident response, ransom negotiation. Proactive services focus on assessments, threat hunting, and as well our Unit 42 SOCs. We are also fully competent with our threat intelligence team. We run a world-leading, best-in-class threat intelligence operation that helps to fuel everything that we do, from global multi-billion-dollar companies, from Fortune 500 or the Global 2K.
Thank you so much, sir. Next slide, please. To piggyback on what Kyle just mentioned, just want to briefly mention what made Unit 42 so unique that we have the honor sitting here in front of the board member today and presenting. So Unit 42, we are not only provide expert services, including incident response, proactive, and as well as your external SOC, which monitor your technical environment 24/7. We also have a very strong expertise threat intelligence team back us up, which includes not only threat intel services, but also heavily backed up by Palo Alto network products, which means if during the incident event, you ever have to just call us at 2 a.m., need a team immediately hop on to investigate, to contain the threat in your environment. We are not only have the top elite leader jump in, we also have the top leader with super knowledge of threat intel info, as well as a strong Palo Alto network product back us up. Next slide, please. So dive into a little bit deeper is kind of like, every intel industry, what made Unit 42 threat intelligence super unique and super special? As I mentioned previously, we have a super strong technology suite back us up, which is Palo Alto network products. And as well as we learn from different kind of industry, millions and millions customer across the world. We have a lot of amazing threat intel data feed into this giant loophole. And every single day, our threat intel team would correlate this information and trying to see what kind of threat might be targeted LACERA, what kind of incident might come, what kind of threat actor might come after your organization. And we will provide the best suggestion and the solution during the event of incident response. Next slide, please. So what is kind of services that Unit 42 offer that LACERA can benefit from? So we cover everything, comprehensive end-to-end coverage. Doesn't matter if you just want to be more prepared for any potential incident response, or you want to kind of like stress testing your SOC center to see how ready they are about any potential incident response, or you just more curious your day-to-day health, you want to monitor your environment. We also offer them all. And if very unlucky, let's just say your environment has been compromised and you need some kind of like an emergency room doctor to hop in to help you to contain those incidents. We also offer incident response and the recovery services to help you and your business and end user get back to operation as soon as possible. And the last, if you ever want to elevate your security strategy and just really transform your security footprint to another level, we are also here to help you. And then next, I will pass it to my coworker Kaya to dive a little bit deeper in how those services can benefit you. Next slide, please.
Before you go to the next slide.
Yes.
Are we talking about external, or are you actually on the system itself?
So it's both. It really just depends on what kind of services that you care about the most, either internal or external. We offer it all.
What do we currently do?
Currently, we have them internally for our SOC. So that means the Security Operations Center. So that's what we have them for. We also use their products like the SASE product or the XDR service, which is both internal and external facing.
Got it. So it's actually on our systems itself
Yes.
and monitoring like the
Right,
pulse type
exactly,
system.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So it can prevent things from happening before they happen. I mean,
Correct.
you guys are, okay,
That's absolutely correct, sir. Thank you so much. Pass it to you, Kyle.
Thank you. So going into some of the proactive services, we are both on the proactive services team. We can speak highly to this. It's about preventative nature and making sure that the shift in security is going to a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach. So next slide, please. So these three columns present ourselves with our proactive approach: preparedness, testing and assessments, as well as security transformation. So in response to preparedness, we do tabletop exercises, threat modeling, breach readiness reviews, and they're really meant to secure your organization, prepare you for an event. In the industry, we say it's not if, it's when it happens. It's not something that you can prevent entirely. So there's always a preparedness step to ensure that you are well situated in the case of an event, a data breach, or an incident. Incident is a very big legal term. Never declare something an incident until it is fully an incident. Going into testing and assessments, we do offensive security, so really stress testing your systems, attack surface assessments, seeing what's available to the outside world, as well as security strategy and transformation. That's bringing your security system and your security unit to the next level by focusing on things such as zero trust, SOC maturity, cloud security, and AI security. Those are four of our big marquee services that we offer because they're top of mind security concerns within the security industry at the moment. Next slide, please. So optimizing threat detection and response. So these are some of the factors that help attackers succeed. There's not enough visibility internally. Things are getting by, there isn't enough monitoring, and things are getting lapsed. Too much trust. People are being able to do stuff without being able to have any restrictions in place. Those are referred to as our security controls to prevent things from happening beforehand. And too much complexity. Complex systems typically lend their hand to too much control sets, too many things happening at once, and not enough staffing or means to maintain that environment. So proactively addressing these issues lower the chances of or the impact of an attack. And something that I want to focus on is the idea of AI. AI is one of the big buzzwords of the past decade at the moment. But AI isn't just used to help your day to day. I know that within here, we use the Copilot suite. We hear about Gemini, and that's AI to help you perform your job and your functions. But also threat actors are utilizing AI to help them get quicker. So recently, Unit 42 actually did a simulated ransomware attack where from start to finish, from initial entry to deployment of ransomware and encryption of systems, which would prevent your use and bring down your systems, was in 25 minutes. And that is a big shift from what it used to be with manual labor, manual human intervention, which could be as high as 36 hours. And what that is it's a big shift from reactive to proactive. There used to be time for you to identify these steps and prevent your organization from attack because you see what the attacker is doing level by level. Now, in 25 minutes, it's very hard to be able to pick up on those things that could take down your organization. Next slide, please.
That 25-minute, just general, that wasn't actually on ours. That wasn't actually on our system, right?
No, not on your system. It is something that Unit 42 published publicly. We have seen it threat actors decreased into that hour time slot but Unit 42 was able to successfully simulate an entire ransomware attack in 25 minutes. And if we can simulate it within one of our environments, there's no means of saying that an attacker can't be quicker or be on the same timeline as that. So getting into those, some of those proactive services that we have, AI security assessment, that's the understanding of adoption to understanding that you need governance around AI solutions. One of the biggest things that we see is the misunderstanding of information that can be published into AI. AI and Gen AI as a big term is the idea of taking things that are published in and using them to train your model. If you think about all that confidential data that gets inputted into any kind of chat system, you need to make sure that there are governance controls to ensure that that data isn't now going to help that AI agent learn and possibly in another organization or in a publicly sourced model of it, be able to get more information on your organization than what should be publicly available. Going into cloud security, applications are moving all to the cloud, off-prem solutions hosted by somebody else. Cloud is another big term. We think of it as just in the air. It means in the data center somewhere. Somebody's data center that you don't own, but you rent that space in order to use it. So cloud security, ensuring what goes in and what goes out is maintained, is a huge part of new security culture. SOC assessment, which we'll go through a little bit of a case study, refers to optimizing your security operations team. Your security operations team is what protects the organization. You have internal as well as we have our external Unit 42 SOC that you utilize. And it's all about making that efficient and making sure that monitoring and detection is optimized. And zero trust. The idea is always verify, never trust. Make sure that what you're letting in is what you want in. Don't let the open idea of, hey, we won't block it until it's a threat to us be at the top of mind.
Do you have something that stops that trust where we don't have to make the decision what we want to let in and you notice that this is the wrong thing so you can stop it before it starts? Has that happened yet?
Yeah, so a lot of our products, and it goes back to the idea of using AI as both, it could be used as a bad thing, but it also could be used as a proactive nature to it. We've identified and implemented AI into our products, and it's a very big push of our CEO to adopt it because it's not going to go away. So we use generative learning and we cross-check with our MDR service to ensure that things that the AI is picking up on that are bad, that hasn't been notated as bad, are then pulled out and blocked immediately, put into containment steps. And what that happens is it prompts an alert for your internal operations teams to be able to also review it. So it's a preventative nature that can also be allowed if it's a correct control.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next slide, please. So going into the SOC assessment workshops, high level, our SOC assessments is making sure that we optimize the principles of security operation centers. And what that is that's your monitoring and your detection part. So an open-ended discussion with your SOC personnel to make sure that we're identifying the gaps and the steps and some visibility gaps within your environment. Things that you know that you can't handle at the moment that you might need a security tool to help you optimize. Next slide, please. So this goes into a case study that we have of a Fortune 500 company in the state of before and after a breach that they had. This is within this past 6 months. So this is the before state of their security operations center. You can see there's a lot of black, a lot of red, and a lot of yellow. And what that signifies is a low maturity security operations center, one that was not optimized. And therefore, when they did have an incident breach, it led to more substantial impact than what could have been achieved if there was proactive intervention and more security controls in place to help monitor and ensure that the environment was safe and secure. Next slide, please.
Is that your job or our job?
So our job is to assess it, and we also help out. So what we're going to see, we can go to the next slide. This slide will address that question. In regards to what we helped achieve with our product deployment of XIM as well, was a fully operationalized SOC. So if you see on the screen now, there's a lot of green, there's some yellow, because a SOC can never be perfect, and that's your monitoring capabilities. But with Unit 42, as well as deploying products and assessing and filling those right gaps, you can achieve a more optimized, more security focused SOC that is there to preventatively detect attackers or instances of a breach rather than reactively attempt. So this does not decrease your ability of having an incident happen as a whole, but it severely decreases the nature in which it can happen because there's more proactive monitoring in place and a security operations center that is highly optimized and meant to look over what attackers typically use as their quick routes in.
And also, sir, I just want to kind of like add a little bit point on this topic is Unit 42 is specialized to come up with solutions specifically tailored to your organization and environment, which means doesn't matter what kind of constraint your business maybe have financial budget or just a culture, perspective, we will make a customized solution to help you achieve certain kind of security posture that you are willing to. So there's no really differentiate between your job. My job is kind of like our collaboration. Thank you, sir.
And I think what's helpful is if we just know what you're doing for us. I understand we could buy all kinds of services, but let's try and tie it into what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Next slide, please.
Perfect. So moving to the Unit 42 manager service. Next slide, please. As Chad mentioned a little bit earlier, right now we're going to focus on the detection and monitoring, which is what Unit 42 does for your environment. Next slide, please. So the services I'm about to introduce is called the Unit 42 MDR, Manager Detection and Response, mainly focused on sometimes customer maybe just need a little bit help from external SOC to bring in more threat intel information as well as expert to monitor your environment. So as Unit 42 MDR, we offer elite technology such as built on Cortex XDR and XIEM. We utilize this technology to monitor your environment, as well as we guarantee this is managed by Unit 42, which is our expert team. And also we enrich with context. What that means and what really make Unit 42 unique is we enrich those data that we found based on our day-to-day job working with so many clients from different kind of industry across the world, what we see in their environment. Are we seeing those potential indicator in LACERA environment, which made Unit 42 MDR really unique? Next slide, please. So last, talking about one of the most popular topic, which is Unit 42 instance response. Next slide, please. So now we are going to focus on what Unit 42 provide for incident response and the recovery perspective. So during the incident event, if you very unfortunately get compromised, how we can help. Next slide, please. So during the event of incident breach or incident response, us as Unit 42, we guarantee we will jumpstart your investigation in a minute. Doesn't matter what time, where, when that happened. As soon as you give us a phone call, let us know that you're under any kind of compromise. We are happy to jumpstart the investigation. And also another thing is coming from Unit 42, we guarantee that we will make sure the threat is fully remediated from your environment, which means we are not going to move to the next stage until the active compromise has been solved in your environment. And then lastly, we will also make sure we have a very strong team that was a super focus on the legal perspective of Kyle. I'm so sorry. Can you cover this part for me, please?
Yes. So from a legal perspective, we like to make sure that we are covering in discovery aspects. So ensuring that we are properly reporting, doing forensic evidence preservation for any type of litigation that happens in the future. So that is top of mind because we work with a lot of cyber insurers. We work with law firms a lot to make sure that we have bulletproof cases that aren't going to lapse in court and have gaps in court if you bring the threat actor to any type of litigation practice, or as well as making sure that your cyber insurance has no means or ability to deny your claim.
Kyle, one question.
Thank you so much.
Are you guys continually, the bad actors? And are you aware of most ways they try to get into the system? Is that something that you have pretty good control of. So you can stop a certain percentage. I hope it's 80 or 85% of what the actors are doing. And there's only a small percentage left that maybe you're not aware of, and you continually have a group that's working on that, looking at what they're trying to do to get into the system.
Thank you so much, sir, for your question. Sorry, I just need to cough real bad. So to answer your question, that is so what we just introduced about the MDR services. So we have like people watching your environment 24/7. And from what looks like from the back end is whenever there's something suspicious going around in your environment, when the tool starts to pick up the indicator, it will fire an alert to our side. That's how we make sure we can actively monitor your environment and keep in touch with your team. Make sure if there's any kind of suspicious indicator, we address them right away. So that's I can guarantee that can keep probably 80% of like active threats or threat actor outside of your environment. And the left of 20% that, sir, you were mentioned is just more involved with like the collaboration with your team. We probably need more contact from your security team. If we see something that we kind of like, this might look like an active threat actor, but we are not really sure if your people are doing something or threat actor doing something, we will arrange chat a phone call and just collaborate with your internal security team to really make sure you're actually secure and safe.
Thank you.
And to second on that, Unit 42 MDR service did receive 100% threat mitigation on our MITRE assessment, which we're one of the only organizations to have mitigated 100% of threats within this simulated environment. Now, that is not to say that threat actors aren't evolving and finding new ways to get in every single day. And also it relies on a lot of software vulnerabilities that go out there. It's other organizations that put you at threat. So it is typically, now we're seeing an increase in insider threat as well as supply chain compromise. Next slide, please. And that sums up what we wanted to talk to you about. We wanted to leave it open to any questions about what we offer to you guys as well. We do Unit 42 MDR service. We are your managed SOC. We also provide you with incident response capabilities in the case of an incident, which covers ransomware negotiation, as well as any type of services that you need during the course of an incident.
Colleen?
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for your presentation. Are specific people assigned to LACERA, for example, or different clients?
So you do have certain solutions consultants as well as account managers assigned to your organization. However, when an incident does occur, what will happen is they'll assign a Unit 42 digital forensics and incident response team to you. If you need somebody boots on the ground, they will pick up a local resource to be able to get somebody to your organization quick. But you will instantly be assigned a Unit 42 case team. Now, what helps us with this broad variety of knowledge is that our Unit 42 case teams continuously cycle as well as see everything. So it's not like they're only getting insight from West Coast cases or specific geographical factors. They're seeing everything throughout the world, as well as we have different teams that operate in different time zones, allowing us for full coverage throughout the course of, they call it following the sun.
Okay, and how many people are there on these teams? How many teams are there? How many people are on the teams? Like, what if a number of your clients have breaches at once because somebody does a mass breach or something like that?
That is an excellent question. And that's why we always recommend the idea of route of what you guys accomplish with a retainer. And the retainer allows you to have that built-in connection to us already, and that dispatch that's more immediate. So that's where almost like having an attorney on retainer, you'll get in contact with them and there isn't much of a litigation process. That's where we can spin up a case in minutes. And we are always working with our partners as well to make sure that we do have coverage. But being a client of ours, it helps to maintain that responsibility to protect you rather than having to go through an onboarding process in which it could severely delay. And we know that time is of the essence in the case of a breach.
And how many teams are there at any given time? Is it
A wide variety of teams. We have a whole consulting operation on that digital forensics team. And then anybody with that availability or capacity, as well as based on state of urgency, they'll be assigned. So there is no set amount of teams. It's a giant pool of consultants, and they get pulled together by a case lead, a director on our team, and above, to make sure that we have a complete coverage area of what is happening in your environment and put on the most expert people.
And also, ma'am, we also have our internal on-call team as well. So it doesn't matter what happened, when, what time, we will always make sure there's a lead and enough analysis on your case to support your case.
Mr. Kehoe.
Just general comment, and I appreciate the presentation. Chad, very, very good bringing them in. You cover a lot of my concerns here. I think you have a great layer, and I think the best thing is just having that expert team that specializes in all the elements that we could bring in with anything, because cybersecurity is wide, threats are wide. When we have an incident, we don't want to be trying to find the right person. We know that you can bring that to the table. So I appreciate that, and hope we keep this going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a question. Yes. And I had my hand raised and I didn't get called, sorry. Okay. My question is, you mentioned the ransomware. So how likely is that to happen? I mean, you've had that occurrence before with other organizations, and like, what's the percentage, like, in your experience? Like, is it very high? Does it happen every month? And just a little bit more information on that.
So, ma'am, to answer your question, I would say 80% of our incident response cases happen at Unit 42 are ransomware cases. It is 100% the most popular topic in incident response, which I believe is every single security person in this room's biggest nightmare. So, I would 100% say ransomware is still the top concern.
It's a top of mind concern, and it goes into the idea of threat actors want to have something leveraged over you in order for that payment to happen. There are a lot of considerations that happen, and that's why security controls are top of mind to have in place, because when you think about threat actors and going into ransomware negotiations, there are factors such as OFAC compliance, which is the Office of Foreign Affairs, and you can't pay a sanctioned entity legally by federal law. So there are a lot of different recovery aspects that, having insured backups, being able to restore your system, having that business continuity plan, as well as disaster recovery plan are top of mind. But ransomware is typically the route that threat actors will go, just because it yields the highest payment. We look at ransomware groups and threat actor organizations, they operate as companies. They have customer service line, they have HR departments, because if they successfully succeed in 5 $20 million attacks, that's $100 million business that they have now built.
And how often do the companies pay out, or is that like not negotiable? That's not done, or how?
A lot of ransomware negotiations happen under legal privileges. However, what I can say is Unit 42 prides ourselves in getting that ransom negotiation or ransom price down significantly, down to about that 20% mark. So instead of the request for $100 million, it would be $20 million. Or instead of $5 million, it would be $1 million. So it significantly decreases, and that's because we have built those connections as well on that deep side of the internet to ensure that, hey, we might be able to get you to the state that the threat actor wants, but also appeasing the cyber insurance side as well as the organization side.
And also, ma'am, not only just about ransom negotiation, just like in the business, Unit 42 also cover end to end. So after we negotiate ransom, we will also help you to make sure the data that threat actor sent to you is actually belongs to your data. Make sure we actually can get the real key to unlock your encrypted data. We will also do them all to make sure that your money has not been scammed by them.
One more question. Do the organizations have insurance to cover this?
Yes, I would say most of the organization does have insurance, but we also have a few clients that they are self-insured. So that would become like complete other route.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
What percentage of your clients has this problem? Any idea?
So I can speak to the amount of, at least since now or since the beginning of the year in August, there have been over 800 ransomware attacks in the United States that we have responded to. There are other incident response teams out there. But typically financial is top of mind because you have the money to be able to pay out those threat actors. So there are hundreds happening, hundreds a month. It's just a matter of what we can use on our case data. We see a lot. We're able to use that insight and that data to help fuel our operations, to help you protect you in that case. And we're using that backlog of those 800 cases and continuously growing to help evolve that process and make sure that we are putting you in the best possible standpoint. It's not a monthly thing. It's not like we've investigated 12. We've investigated hundreds, thousands per year.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're still on item 11. C through H are all reports. You can read them at your leisure. Item 12, items for staff review. There are none. Item 13, items for future agendas. Nothing came up in the meeting. We are on item 14, good of the order. I will start with Mr. Holcomb. Or no, I'll let you just call.
Okay, Mr. Elcom.
I don't have anything here. The only thing I don't know if you've read. UCLA is fighting the city of Pasadena. And they want to go to SoFi somewhere. I don't know all the details, but that's a big deal here in Pasadena.
I read the story.
1983. And the only thing I can say is that better have some very good lawyers.
They better get better or they're going to be playing junior college football.
We picked up 7 dates that could be a lot more attractive, but less when you say that stadium, you know, particularly the roads needs to have football games played.
Oh, I get it.
So they continue in their ways of getting around that, but that's the only thing going on in my life.
Big bucks.
Thank you, Mr. Elcom. Mr. Razzo?
Just thank you everyone for the presentations, very informative, and just happy that my Dodgers won, so.
Yeah.
Ms. Langton?
Thank you. Laura, I am really sad that you are retiring. It's been an absolute, I know you're not leaving yet, but it's been a joy working with you. You are so kind. You are so professional. You have like this quiet excellence to you. You're a great writer. And the nice thing about being a trustee is that we can deny your application for retirement, can't we? But we won't.
We can't help it.
Yeah, and go Dodgers.
Thank you. And Ms. Ginsburg? And Mr. Rue? Nothing. And Mr. Harris? Ms. Nestler?
I just want to say that I'm glad to be here today, not only for all the presentations, but because I wasn't sure I was going to survive the World Series. So I'm very grateful that my heart held out.
Mr. Moore?
Nothing to add.
Thank you, Mr. Kehoe.
Concur with everything you said about Laura. You're going to be greatly missed and huge shoes to fill. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. That's not going to be at the JOGC or the BOI, believe it or not. We're going through pretty quickly, but everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you. And Chair Robbins.
Yeah, World Series, talk about heart attack time. I'm obviously glad the Dodgers won, but I'm even happier that the people in LA celebrated peacefully. And there was no crazy stuff going on. And I ran into Jim McDonald, the LAPD police chief, the other morning, and he was pretty happy that all of their hard work basically in his mind paid off. But yeah, it was an incredible that's what the World Series, best World Series probably ever. So, and the Dodgers won. So other than that, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'll save my comments for Laura for a couple months down the road. And I'll think about all of you on Thanksgiving because I'm going to be in Hawaii. So.
And
With that, let's take a 15-minute break and then we'll come back in closed session for the remainder of the meeting.
Recording stopped.